You know how good it is to feel like you got high expectations for something? Out of all the New York teams, I'm equally as excited for the Knicks than I am for the New York Giants, Jets, and the Brooklyn Nets. Even though the Brooklyn Nets are kind of in a refurbished state where they're trying to at least change much of their identity with a way younger team after the super team with Kyrie, KD, and then James Harden from last year did not work out. The Knicks been built from the ground up since the 2018 offseason over acquiring Bobby Portis and Julius Randle, drafting RJ Barrett around 2019. Mitchell Robinson been a main staple center over around the front court for the past couple seasons. Has been a consistent but injury-riddled center that's a good offensive rebounder and a major contributor how we even got to the conference semifinals beating the Cavaliers. Quentin Grimes came over to a rotational 3-and-D player into a primordial starter, and we possibly have one of the better benches out of the Eastern Conference. I think we're in equivalent depth in rotation behind the Philadelphia 76ers, the Boston Celtics. You could say the Brooklyn Nets because they have some notable names over in the rotation. But majority of second units, unless you want to count the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dante DiVincenzo was part of a postseason run that was deep, and it had the Warriors making it to the conference semifinals, losing to the Lakers, while averaging a very consistent margin from last season of 43% from the field. He's a good defensive rebounder, a good off the second unit, consistent from three, especially over those corner threes and shots over from the wings. And he seems to have good chemistry with every team he's been in. And even won a title with the Milwaukee Bucks. I put positives on this guy's head for the last couple months now since this off season, and we're near the round of September where we'll get near media day. We'll get some preseason basketball, and we're still over the crux of what's going to happen over with majority of some star players over the rest of the off season. But I like the Dante DiVincenzo signing. This is possibly the same critique of an overpayment like we had for Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Brunson was playing all NBA level, 48 for over 45 minutes a game, was a primary option over to push us further around the conference semis when we had the Miami Heat, and was averaging 40 points, 25 off 11 assists, playing 48. He was a primary factor. You don't have a guy playing the whole game if he isn't a major factor. While Julius Randle sprained over his ankle, he seems to be rehabbing, cut his dreads off, by the way. And you got both Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, playing for U.S. national teams over an international level, while having Evan Fournier still under contract. Possibly he'll get some rotation minutes, knowing that we just wasted Derrick Rose to just play as our secondary mascot. Knowing that's a fact, if the Knicks possibly, if they can pick one rotative piece or keep the momentum from last year, this could be a possible 50-win season. They were only around the 5th seed, and this is while the Brooklyn Nets were declining over in the win-loss percentage after the deadline, when we were going 6 straight, 7 straight. We had 8 straight after All-Star weekend. The New York Knicks are in a heightened situation, and I can't wait to see them play basketball this October. And this is coming from me. I'm giving them an off-season rating of an A-. They didn't solely try to rotate most of the team. They still kept perennial depth. I think a major con in their offseason was, of course, releasing Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin was, of course, a primordial work in progress. He was drafted around 2020. A reasonable defensive wing. Was trying to work over a spot-up three-point shot. Good playmaker around the lob, and we understand he's a good dunker. We traded him over to the Pacers for 2 second-round picks, and we just gave Halliburton better options off the break. And Halliburton's been hooping this entire World Cup, FIBA World Cup tournament for the U.S. national team so far. So bright spots over in the rotation. Emmanuel Henry, he got to put a leg up. He's good off the break. I love whenever I know his 3-point shot needs some work. So does R.J. Barrett. But whenever they're off the break, they're coming off the roll, or they're coming to finish around the lane, they're unstoppable. Randall needs to take a step up around his efficiency, and when he gets an open look or a mismatch, he needs to fucking take it. For God's sakes, I swear to God, Randall has the mentality of how to play in my career instead of how to be a wing. I get it. You 3 is better than 2, but when you don't have to take that motherfucker, the 2 is easier, especially if you're not consistent on it. He was an all-star last year, and I'm not denying Julius Randle's talents. I understand New York media likes to rag on him when he has a bad game and then treat him like he's a goddamn legend. I can't wait for the season opener that's going to be in 2 months. We'll face the Boston Celtics, and I think we split the series against them last season. And you got to love it when Knicks basketball last season, every divisional game, the Atlantic divisional games were actually premier games. People got excited when we had a Christmas game against the 76ers. Every game was down the wire involving the Miami Heat. They're part of the Southeast. And of course the Toronto Raptors. The very, very competitive, high stakes game. Knicks actually feel like a big time. Isaiah Roby's possibly going to rotate in. Jericho Sims is kind of like a taller Obi Toppin. He was also in the dunk contest. Not really much of a bag on him. He's good off the putback scoring, but hopefully the Thibodeau can enforce more depth so we don't play our starters for a majority of the game. That was kind of what I was critiquing on when I was live streaming the playoffs. We play our starters for way too much. We're freshing it out, and whenever players are fatigued, that lowers their efficiency. And Thibodeau gotta get more investment over his rotation players. Miles McBride needs more minutes. Josh Hart needs to lead over that secondary unit. Emmanuel quickly needs to evolve his game so he can get more minutes. Hell, if you can, trade Evan Fournier, or at least add him into the rotation a lot more. Impact your players, or else they shouldn't be on the team. That's my opinion on it. And Hartenstein needs to get a step up, because I just feel like he's just an Eastern Conference Alex Len. No racial, though. But besides that, this has been a very good offseason. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if there is any cracks on it, try to patch it up with something to improve it. And I feel like that's what the Knicks did this offseason, knowing they're not trying to splash the cash any washed-up primordial postseason flop like James Harden or Joel Embiid. No disrespect to Embiid. I know he won the league MVP, but we know that was a pity party for him, knowing that he wasn't going to go that far into the playoffs. And we have had very impressive production whenever looking at Brunson leading Team USA, R.J. Barrett leading Team Canada. Off-season workouts that I'm seeing a lot of players, Emmanuel Quickly and Julius Randle, taking it very seriously, trying to make sure they can actually exceed expectations. So I'm very excited to see what the Knicks could do this off-season. That's it coming from me, from the Sidelines Production. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I understand summer's coming into an end and everybody's going to get upset to come back to school, but football season is coming back. Basketball season's coming back. Hell, if you're a hockey fan, that's going to be good. A good thing to keep your mind out of homework for a while. And of course, we got baseball postseason baseball in 2 months. So please, try to think of the positives when there's a whole lot of negatives. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.